All right, guys. Sorry I couldn't be here today, but I'm here with you in spirit, right? And on camera. So we are going to do today, we skipped lesson 10. It's just more of that modeling stuff. And I want to just dive right into dividing decimals by whole numbers. So, so today, again, it's how is multiplying decimals, and I'm sorry, how is multiplying and dividing decimals similar to multiplying and dividing whole numbers, all right? The pages you will need today is 443 to 448. All right, make sure you put your name on it, please. And then you put a staple right here because remember, you're going to be turning all this in like always. You should have already completed the check my progress, and you're going to turn that in also with the rest of this work, okay? So you're going to be turning this in with the rest of it today. And if you got any questions, please ask the sub today. All right, so math in my world, we have there are 8 and 4/10 meters left on a roll of ribbon. Nancy wants to cut the ribbon in half. What will be the size of each piece of ribbon? So we're taking 8 and 4/10 and we're dividing that, it says right here, in half. So it means we're dividing it in two. So that's why we have 8 and 4/10 divided by 2. And then they estimate, of course, and they say, well, that's 8 because 8.4, 8 and 4/10 is pretty close to 8. And they're dividing it by 2, and we see this is 4. So our answer is going to be coming close to 4. Now, this is why it was important that we understood and we listened and we paid attention when we were dividing, because now we're going to be doing it with decimals. So uh, here's the trick on this one. Kind of like with adding and subtracting, you line up the decimal points. Well, in this one, whenever you put the answer, the dividend in here, right here, and you put the 8.4, you're going to put the decimal right above wherever the decimal's at. You're just going to put it above it, like right there. And that would be a good sign to you to do every single time. And it will help you as you guys continue on through this lesson, just to do that so you don't forget later on. And then you just divide like you did with whole numbers. Divide as with whole numbers. Well, 2 goes inside of 8 4 times. Remember, we did divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. Remember that? Well, we just divided 2 into 8 is 4. Now we're going to multiply. What's 4 times 2, which is 8. And now we subtract, which is 0. Now we bring down our 4. And then once we bring down, remember, we have to repeat the process. So then we say, well, 2 goes inside of 4 2 times. Now we multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. Now we subtract, we get 0. And since we get 0 and we have nothing to bring down, we're finished. So 8 and 4/10 down here at the bottom, as it says, equals 4 and 2/10. Each piece of ribbon will be 4 and 2/10 meters long. And you see that was pretty close to our estimate right here, so that we know that we're fairly correct, all right? And they want you to use models down there, but I'm not going to make you use models to do that. I mean, you could simply just say, well, 4.2 times 2, well, that's 4. Well, that's 8. We have one space, and well, that's the original 8.4 to check it, okay? Next page. Now they just give us numbers, and we have a lot more numbers to deal with here, all right? And we're going to round to the nearest cent. So we have $6.54, and we're going to divide that by 12. So let's say we're buying a 12-pack of Diet Mountain Dew, my favorite, and it costs $6.54. And I want to know how much each can cost. Well, I'm going to divide 654 by 12, and that's how many cans. So again, we write the number, our dividend in here, 6 and 54, and they've added a 0 in here, but I'll tell you about that later. So pretend like that 0 isn't there for now. Divided by 12, okay? Now you're looking at it going, well, 6, okay, well, first, if you see that, how many times will 12 go into 6? Well, that's 0. And notice how they went ahead and put the decimal, like I said earlier. Go ahead and go straight up put the decimal in, because 12 does not go into 6, so that's going to be 0. So now you can see that we have a 0. We're going to have basically no dollars. We're going to have pennies here. We're going to have change that we're going to be dividing this 654 by 12. And now you say, well, how many times will 12 go into 65? Now, if you know your 12s, and you should because you are indeed in 5th grade, 12 times 5 is 60. So 5 times 12 is 60. Remember, we're doing that divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, repeat if we have to. So we did the multiply. Now we're going to subtract. So 5 minus 0 is 5. 6 minus 6 is 0. Don't need to put that. Now we're going to need to bring down our 4. And then we say 12, because we're repeating. 12 goes into 54. Well, again, if we know 60 is too much, so we're going to say this is a 4, because 4 times 12 is 48. So I'm not taking a whole lot of time on this process of dividing here, mainly because we've already had it. We have to subtract now, so we're going to have to borrow from this guy. Makes this a 4. We're going to take that 10, and we're going to put it over here, which 10 plus 4 is 14 now. 14 minus 8 is 6. Now, here's the thing. We're not done, because with money, you can't really have a remainder, right? So cool thing, you just put a 0 in here. You just add a 0, bring it down. And since we brought down, we repeat the process. How many times is 12 going to 60? Hopefully you saw 5 times. So this is 60, and then 60 minus 60 is 0. And the reason why we did that 0, because it said right here we wanted it to the nearest cent. If we had a remainder left over, well, we didn't know if this needed to stay 54 cents or if we needed to go up to 55. And hopefully you would see that, well, this 5, because we don't have that in real money unless you're looking at gas prices. So we have basically, this is the answer we have, 0.545. Well, that's not how money's written, is it? So we need to look at this right here and say, well, this 4. So we look over here at this 5, and we say, well, that's 5 or more, so that means we're going to raise this up to a 5. So that's 55 cents. All right, 55 cents. All right. So, again, 55 cents is what it's rounded up to, is the answer. Let's go down here at the bottom. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the decimals here. Let's go ahead and put it right up there. Let's do it on both. Just put it right up there. Just do it on both. All right, 3. Does 3 go into 4? You bet it does. All right. So we're going to say it goes into it 1 time. So that's 3. We subtract. There's a 1. Bring down our 8. How many times will 3 go into 18? Yeah, 6. 18. Subtract. We're going to get 0. We keep bringing down 3. 3 goes inside of 3. 1 time, notice how I just keep going straight across. 3 times 1 is 3. Subtract, you're going to get 0. Bring down another 3. 3 goes into 3. 1 time. 3 times 1 is 3. Subtract, you're going to get 0. And our answer is finally going to be 16 11/100ths. Again, the dividing is no different than what we did, just 4,833 divided by 3. Well, this time we have a decimal that we just pop it straight up there. Okay, it's the only difference. 2 goes in 8 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract 0. Bring down your 8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract, we get 0. We're done. 4 4/10. Now, the talk math, like we always do here, it says, is the quotient of 9 3/10 divided by 15 greater than 1 or less than 1? Explain. Well, hopefully you would see that 9, okay, we're dividing 9 by 15. So that means you're not going to get a whole, let's say, I always like to relate to pizza. Let's say you have 9 slices of pizza and you're dividing that up with 15 people. Not everybody's going to get a whole slice, are they? So that obviously is going to be less than 1. Less than 1, because you're dividing, your divisor is bigger than the dividends. That means it's going to be like up here, how this one right here, up here the top was less than the actual divisor there. Okay. Let's do some examples. We won't do all of these. Most of these are going to be assigned to you as homework, mainly because the division is the same. All we got to do is just remind ourselves to pop the decimal up there at the top. All right. So that's why I feel like we don't need to do all these, or I don't need to do them all, but you will. You got to rewrite this: 145 8/10 divided by 12. Put the decimal straight up here, and now everything else is exactly the same. 12 goes into 1, doesn't. 12 goes into 14, one time. 12 times 1 is 12. Subtract, you get 2. Bring down your 5. 12 goes into 25, 2 times. 2 times 12 is 24. Subtract 1. Bring down your 8. 12 goes into 18, one time. 12 times 1 is 12. Subtract, you're going to get 6. Now here, look, remember I said we can't have anything left over? We throw a 0 on. We go down here. We bring the 0 down. Remember, we can add as many zeros as we need to on decimals. Now, how many times does 12 go into 60? Hopefully you see it's 5 times. 5 times 12 is 60. Subtract that, you get 0. So our answer is 12 15/100ths. Okay, we just added that 0 on so we can finish the problem. Okay, you add zeros. You don't add any other number. You add a 0 at the very end. This one right here, 22 11/100ths divided by 11. Put the decimal straight up above it. Straight up above it. All right. And we say 11 goes into 2. It doesn't. 11 goes into 22. Hopefully you see it's 2 times. 2 times 11 is 22. That's 0 when you subtract. Bring down, sorry, I don't know about that. Bring down your 1. 11 goes into 1 0 times. That's 11 times 0. 11 times 0 is 0. Bring down your other 1. Now 11 goes into 11 one time. Obviously, you can see that is going to be 0. So we have 2 1/100ths. 2 1/100ths. Pretty simple, right? Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, I'm going to do another one here for you. One more. We have 38 4/10 divided by 16. Put the decimal straight above where the other decimal is at, right there. Okay. And then 16 goes into 3. It doesn't. 16 goes into 38. I would hope you see 2 because that's going to be 32. Subtract that. You're going to get 6. Bring down your 4. 16 goes into 64. I know it goes into it 4 times because 16 times 4 is 64. And we get 0. Nothing to bring down. Our answer is 2 4/10. The division is exactly the same, guys. Exactly the same as when we did the whole numbers. Okay, and the only thing is different if we take the decimal and we put it up here. Okay, we just take the decimal, put it up there. All right, so I'm going to leave the rest of these with you. And just keep in mind on these right here, it talks about rounding to the nearest tenth, and these are rounding to the nearest hundredth when you're finished. For the sake of this, don't worry about doing that or that. You can leave that whole page out and then go ahead and get started on your homework. And you have to do all the homework, okay? So it looks to me like you have maybe 10, 19 problems. They're all division, and they're all fairly simple division problems, all right? So when you are finished, make sure, again, that you have your name on it. You have them all stapled, and put this on top if you would with your name on it, if you would right there. Put your name, and again, this was page 435. Okay, put that with it because you're going to do this before everything else. Okay, so good luck. If you have any questions, please reach out to the sub, and they will help you.